ॐ वाङ् मे मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविराविर्म एधि वेदस्य मणिस्थ श्रुतं मे मा प्रहासीः अनेनाधीतेनाहोरात्रान् सन्दधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारमवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ May my speech be firmly established in my mind. May the mind too be firmly established in my speech. O self-effulgent, be revealed unto me. May my mind and speech enable me to grasp the truths that the scriptures teach. May not what I learn from them ever forsake me. Let me live my life day and night according to their teachings. I shall speak what is appropriate. I shall speak the truth. May that protect me. May that protect the teacher. Om. Peace, peace, peace. Let us feel our intrinsic divinity as a steadily burning candle flame in our heart. Let us close our eyes and concentrate on this flame. I see its effulgence filling my whole consciousness. All is the same one luminous reality. The whole universe this body, all the objects, all the stars, this whole universe I see as one. in the light of this knowledge. All the multiplicity has dissolved in this luminous, blissful, infinite ocean of existence. Since there is no multiplicity, there is no time or space. This is my true nature. This is the reality. When I open eyes, then too it is the same reality getting filtered through the eyes and other sense instruments. I am that. Om. Peace, peace, peace. So, dear friends, let us begin the study of this biography of Sri Ramakrishna, Sri Ramakrishna and his divine play. We had a different program last Tuesday, that was the Christmas Eve. So, therefore we are taking up this after a gap of 1 week. This biography, as you are aware of and what we have discussed many times before, is the biography, the life history. But life does not mean just the physical activity or physical movements, physical living. Behind that, it is this psychology, the intentions, the inner changes that prompt these external actions. In common people, it doesn't make much of a difference because our actions are propelled by similar intentions. It is our inner awareness in all of us, in spite of some variations, our inner awareness is I and the world. And I want to get maximum from this world. That is the common awareness. And therefore, the actions also proceed according to that. And thus, looking at the actions, the intentions can be inferred. But the incarnations of God is very different phenomena. So that is why this biography makes such a difference. Let us begin by reciting our regular prayer. Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam kavibhiriditam kalmashapaham shravanamangalam Srimadattatam bhuvi grinante te bhuvrida jana. So, let us see that Sri Ramakrishna has his actions with the intent of or with the play of being a teacher, a guru. Normally, the teacher means the teacher has the intention that I will teach. And the student has, okay, I will learn from this person. That is how the common learning and teaching go on. That you get into a class and then your teacher, somebody teaches you. The teacher is aware that I have to teach. And the students are aware that I have to learn. With Sri Ramakrishna, there is no such awareness that I am the teacher. There is the ego is absent. And so I am teacher and all others, these are the learners. That is not there. It is spontaneously the teaching is happening, like the fragrance when you burn incense stick, then the incense stick doesn't determine, okay, let me spread my fragrance. It is an automatic function. It is not aware that, okay, that I have to spread fragrance, nothing like that. So, Sri Ramakrishna was not aware that these are the actions by which they will learn. But he was aware that his whole life is for others. So every action in his life is, as he himself has stated, is as an example for others. So there is no interest to get anything from the world. That is completely absent. That is how the life of, let alone God incarnation, but even a person who has realized God, all desires get completely erased and has found the ultimate source of bliss within, and thus no desire is left. And therefore there is the life is now just for the benefit of others. That like a saint from Maharashtra says that tuka mhane ata uralo upakara purata, means this Saint Tukaram, he says, now it is only for the sake of others that this life is getting pulled on. So there is nothing to achieve in that life anymore. So this is a big distinction. And therefore, while describing these things, Swami Saradananda, the biographer, has taken care to indicate the inner attitude of Sri Ramakrishna while performing these actions, because just by looking at those actions and trying to superimpose our common human intentions corresponding to those actions, nothing of those actions could be understood. And so he is telling that how Sri Ramakrishna's all this teachership is dependent or is understood by seeing that he is living on the threshold of the absolute and manifestation. Absolute and manifestation. A line in between, as it were. It is just for the sake of understanding. Don't take it too literally that there is this absolute and then there is this relative on this side. It is just for the sake of understanding that we can imagine that Sri Ramakrishna is this awareness of absolute and awareness of relative. Is both are available to him. Like a person, say, has red glasses. Now when that person has put on red glasses, then everything is red. And then when the red glasses are taken off, then the same reality is perceived with all different colors there. It is not different reality, but a perception that is not filtered through the brain and sense organs. Our perception of this world is colored by this instrument, our brain and the sense organ. This is the glass that we put on, and thereby see that same reality variegated. Now, Sri Ramakrishna can do it, means he can put on those and take them off. So it is therefore, and he is aware of that. So therefore, even when he is seeing through the apparatus of senses and intellect, he doesn't get deluded by those forms. He knows that these forms are generated because of these glasses. Once as I was driving car, I saw what is happening. The odometer figures are not being seen. Did I put something there on the... I've turned the buttons here, there. No change. The odometer was not visible. And so then something has happened. I have to take the car to mechanic to show to Abhijit or somebody who will be able to solve this problem. And then soon I realized the problem was I had the dark glasses on my eyes. It was bright light outside. So to protect the eyes, I had put the glasses, and that was creating this hallucination. So we have put on these glasses called sense organs and the brain, mind. All that is mind, brain, sense organs. Through that we are seeing the multiplicity And since we are not aware, like I was not aware that I have these dark glasses on my eyes, so I thought it's a big problem, something has happened there. So, similarly, by seeing the multiplicity, we see that as real, and thus we suffer a lot. There is no end to this suffering without knowledge. As Vedanta, Upanishads and other texts in Vedanta tell, because the cause of the suffering is ignorance, obviously, and the removal of the suffering is knowledge. Bring knowledge. The cause is ignorance, so opposite of that, removal of ignorance or bringing knowledge will result in removal of sufferings. So Sri Ramakrishna is imparting this knowledge. We say that this meditation and such things are matters of hallucination. It is self-hypnotism. You sit in meditation and then imagine something, think that, well, like we were doing, there is a flame, a candle flame burning in our heart. So, how it is hypnotism, self-hypnotism. Why? The reason is that we are hypnotized in this world. Take all these forms to be real. So this is a process of dehypnotizing. It is necessary because you are hypnotized by these forms, including your own form. You think that they are all real. I cannot really live without that. One lady was telling that other things I can get detached, but my kids I cannot. It is I am so attached. Even if I think they are not my kids, I understand fully well they are not my kids. But even the thought of it makes me so uneasy. I cannot give up that idea. It is so. This is the hallucination has gone to that level that even though we understand that it is hallucination, the tremendous that stranglehold the hallucination has on our minds does not go away quickly. So we have to therefore take up a de-hallucinating medication. And this meditation is that medication. It is like when somebody is addict, there has to be a de-addicting method. Some medication that is taken, what somebody was telling me, that pain medication that is given, that oxycodone or something. So now when the pain was there post-surgery, and so it was necessary to give that. But then one gets addicted, so another medication has to be given for getting that de-addiction process on. So since we are under the spell of this hallucination, which is the cause of all our sufferings, this hallucination is not a benign hallucination. It is the cause of all our sufferings, and therefore that hallucination is to be gotten over. It is to be gotten over, period. Otherwise, the alternative is suffering. Do you want that alternative? No, nobody wants that alternative. So therefore, we have to take up this de-hallucinating steps or medication. And Sri Ramakrishna gives that according to the temperament, constitution, because each person is different, when I go to doctor's office, some kind of, that TV about this medication, about this treatment, about this nutritional thing is happening. But they take care, maybe just for the legal this thing, that please remember each person is different, each body is different, and so please consult your physician before taking this. So, similarly, this is all very good. We have to remove this addiction, but the de-addiction medication is not same for all because of the difference in constitution, and Sri Ramakrishna could see that very clearly, that everybody's mind was visible to Sri Ramakrishna like an object in a glass case. So here we are discussing one of the prominent examples of Sri Ramakrishna's that immense teachership that works in a mysterious way. Mysterious way means not that Sri Ramakrishna is holding classes like we have a class here. Hey, please come to the class and we will learn this. It is nothing like is going on. And yet the teaching is happening. So, Mathur Babu is an example of that type whom Sri Ramakrishna taught, but not like an ordinary teacher would teach. Hey, come on, sit near me and listen to my, all advice. Nothing like that. Just the spontaneous actions had such impact on Mathur Babu, and he is a very prominent character in Sri Ramakrishna's life, also not just because he was a supplier of all the mundane needs of Sri Ramakrishna, for the other reason that he stands as one of the prominent examples of Sri Ramakrishna's teachership, how he got transformed and to what extent he got transformed. So, we shall continue from where we had stopped last time, that Mathur had a fair knowledge of English. This is page 486. When Western thought and culture enter the mind through English education, a person develops self-esteem and feels equal to all. Mathur had this kind of independent attitude. That is why we find him trying to use reasoning to dissuade the master from losing control in ecstatic love of God. This we would find many well-wishers and lovers of Sri Ramakrishna advised him like that. Later on, Dr. Mahendralal Sarkar is seen advising that, he said that it happens, samadhi just comes. No, but you should resist it. That it is, if it tries to come, you should not let it come. He tried to say, do I do it intentionally? The doctor says, no, but intentionally you try to stop it. So, that is how they don't have the inkling. So much, this is, and in another way, the Western education creates a sense that what is mentioned here is very self-esteem and the idea of equality. We are all equal. the Declaration of Independence, American independence says very clearly that we believe that all human beings are created equal. All men, now we have to say human beings, otherwise people get upset, that it is so. All human beings are created equal, and that is the important principle of democracy. All have one vote. You may be very rich, one vote. You may be poor, still one vote. No difference. Somebody may be a very learned professor, somebody may be an illiterate person. Still one vote. Each one vote. All are equal. So, and that is a spirit that is very much in reality, Vedanta supports this a great deal. Therefore, Vedanta is, as Swami Vivekananda mentions in one of his lectures, is the most democratic religion, because it rests on this principle of equality, that all have the same inner divinity, all are equal. Vedanta finds out the principle because of which all of us are equal. Where is the equality? We say that all human beings are equal. In what sense are they equal? Is their height equal? No. Their color of skin same? No. Their body weight same? No. Are their habits similar? No. Nothing is similar, but yet we are sure that all of us are equal. Where are we equal? It is here that the penetrative analysis of Vedanta throws the light. We are equal in this self. We are equal as the spirit or the I. Otherwise, we are all different. In body, we are different from each other. In our mental get-ups, we are different from each other. Somebody, just simple matters, somebody likes to go to Starbucks. Somebody likes to go to Dunkin' Donut. They are very vehement about it, you see. Somebody likes one sport, somebody likes another sport. It is our mental get-ups also are so different. Somebody becomes Republican, somebody becomes Democrat. And they are always at loggerheads. And still, how are we all equal? In spite of so much of difference, distinction, where is the equality? The spirit of all is the same. The self in all is identical. And so, this being the case, Vedanta gives the proper basis for this idea of equality and therefore for democracy. The external aspect of this is that you do not consider anybody to be, having a superior understanding. If you think that you are right, let us use reason. Let us exchange our thoughts. And let us see what rationally appears to be right. And let's accept that. And let us have a conversation. And let us understand. It is just because you can shout more, that doesn't mean that you are right. Just because you have more experience, that doesn't make you right. So Mathur Babu would challenge Sri Ramakrishna. And this is an example given which we had discussed some time back, that he said the laws of nature are laws of nature. Even God cannot change them. Sri Ramakrishna said, now Sri Ramakrishna gave rationale to it. But then when my rationale does not tally with your rationale, now what is to be done? They say in how the scientific spirit developed, the experimental science, how it developed, that they were arguing about, this is just an anecdote, don't take it too seriously. They were arguing how many teeth a horse should have or horse has. So, well, horse is bigger than human being. Human beings have 32, so horse must have 40. The size, it is so more teeth. Some said, no, it is inferior being. It should have less, so must be having about 20. Different opinions came up. All gave their rationale that all four-footed animal they have a different the constitution of their mouth, and so their number of teeth should be this. And then somebody among them said, oh heck, we are discussing all this unnecessarily. Yeah, why don't you open the mouth of the horse and count and settle the matter? And that is the birth of the experimental science. That, okay, let us open the mouth of the horse and see what is it. So Sri Ramakrishna and Mathur Babu differed on this. And Mathur Babu said, that flower which is, that tree which gives red flowers will give red flowers. Even if God wants, it cannot make it give white flowers. And then Sri Ramakrishna next day, as he was going to ease in that nearby place, so he saw that there is one tree, hibiscus, there is hibiscus plant here, hibiscus. And on the same branch, two flowers. One was red, one was white. On the same twig, Sri Ramakrishna plucked that twig and took it to Mathur Babu. And Mathur Babu has now, nothing can be said now. It is shown that it is, the laws can be changed. So this was all the education process going on. The worldly minded Mathur began to spend long periods of time with the master, partly out of curiosity, partly out of compassion, because he considered the master's overwhelming devotion to be caused by some sort of physical ailment. He understood that Sri Ramakrishna has some devotion, but excess, so much excess, it is, we have a dictum, all is good in moderation. So devotion also is good only in moderation. So don't be too devoted. Some devotion is fine. Too much devotion is not right. Some parents were telling their son who wanted to become monk that, devotion okay, spirituality okay, but to limited extent, everything, don't have it too much. It is everything in proper proportion makes a balanced living. Have a balance in your life. Some devotion, some this, some that. So have like a balanced diet. Don't have too much devotion. Ati sarvatra varjayet, that is the Sanskrit saying that was told to that young man. Now the young man also was intelligent. He said that this principle itself you are applying too much. too much application of this principle is going on here. This principle should be applied moderately, not in everything. So, it is Mathur Babu could not really fathom the depth of this phenomena of Sri Ramakrishna. Thought that there is devotion, but along with devotion there is some mental derangement too. And while let us keep the devotion intact, that mental derangement needs to be fixed by some treatments. So, how could Mathur refrain from worrying, seeing all these masters very peculiar behaviors, radically different from others? Every day the master did all sorts of strange things, impelled by his intense passion for God. One day, while he was worshipping in the shrine, he saw the Divine Mother within his own body and offered all the worship articles to himself. The previous day, he had conducted the Vesper service for 3 hours. It is irritating the temple officials. You can imagine, imagine here, like tomorrow we are going to have a worship, and then there will be a Vesper Arati, and imagine I am doing it for 3 hours. What will be the condition? So it is, you will all pull me down, somebody will come forward to enough Swami, and now sit down. It is now the other programs are to happen. It is Arati is meant only for 15 minutes. So with Sri Ramakrishna this kind of behavior was happening. The day before that, he had rolled on the ground, rubbed his face into it, and cried so piteously because he had not had the vision of God, that people gathered around him. The master told us many stories of daily occurrences such as these. One day the master entered. Now this is an example, it is these things were daily happenings. One day the master entered one of the Shiva temples of Dakshineshwar. You might have seen that Shiva Dakshineshwar campus. There is prominently present is the Kali temple. That is the main temple in that campus. Then there is the temple of Radha Govindaji, Krishna and Radha. And there are then the 12 temples of Shiva. 12 so on the two sides there are. So Sri Ramakrishna went in one of those temples and began to recite Shiva Mahimna, a hymn in the praise of the deity, very famous hymn. He was besides himself in ecstasy as he recited the following verse: O Lord, if the blue mountain be the ink, the ocean and the ink pot, the biggest branch of the celestial tree be the pen, and the earth the writing leaf, and if by taking this the goddess of learning writes forever, even then the limit of your glory can never be reached. Asitagiri samam syat kajjalam sindhu patre suravara tarushakha lekhani patramurvi likhati yadi grahitva sharada sarvakalam tadapi tava guna nam ishaparam nayati. So he was chanting and just began. He intensely felt the glory of Shiva in his heart and he lost himself. He forgot the hymn, the Sanskrit language of the hymn, the order of the verse, and so on, and repeatedly cried aloud, O Lord, how can I express your infinite glory? Tears poured down his cheeks, chest, and clothes, finally dampening the floor. The temple servants and officials rushed in, drawn by his loud cries. His indistinct, anguished words, like those of a madman, and his bizarre behavior. Uh, when they encountered him in this ecstatic condition, some were amazed. Some were amazed and waited to see what would happen next. Some remarked, "It is all the young priest. Young priest craziness. He is even crazier than usual today." Others mocked, "Is he going to ride Shiva's shoulders now? There is still time to pull him out of the temple." Thus they made fun of him. The master was not at all conscious of his surroundings. Absorbed in the thought of Shiva's greatness, his mind had transcended the external world and soared to a higher realm where mundane thoughts and words could never reach. So he was completely unaware of the opinions, remarks, and ridicule of the people. Mathur was in the Kali temple that day. Hearing the commotion, he immediately went to the Shiva temple. The officials hurriedly made way for him. Mathur was moved when he saw the master in that condition. He had the penetration to see that it is the devotion that is pouring out in these actions. It is unusually high level of devotion, that's all. So he did not think that there is anything censurable or something needs to be specifically done. So, and that at that time somebody suggested that Ramakrishna be forcibly removed from the shrine because he was very close to the deity. "Touch him only if you don't value your head," rejoined Mathur furiously. Frightened, the officials did not dare to say or do anything. After a short time, the master regained consciousness of the outer world. Seeing Mathur and the temple officials standing around him, he asked like a fearful child, "Did I do anything wrong when I was unconscious?" Bowing down to the master, Mathur said, "Oh no, father. You were just reciting a hymn. I came here to make sure that no one disturbed you." So that is how this one incident, and these incidents were happening all the time. This is just an example given. Recalling his condition during his sadhana, Master once told us, "At that time, everyone who came here would quickly be spiritually awakened when they associated with this place," pointing to himself, that his body. If they associated with it, then what would happen? Their spiritual potential will get quickly awakened. It is when they associated with this place. Two young men used to come from Baranagar. They belonged to a lower caste, either Kaivata or what is it, Tamli. I don't know what these words mean. They were good and had love for and faith in me. They came quite often. One day I was seated with them in the Panchavati, and one of them had a spiritual experience. I saw his chest turn crimson, his eyes become deep red, and tears trickled down his cheeks continuously. He could neither talk nor stand. A word of caution here. These external signs, they are outcome of the intense devotion. But that doesn't mean if we crimson our chest by applying some color there or by some other means make our eyes tearful. And that doesn't mean the devotion will come to us. These one's mind easily goes to the externals. So therefore it is not right to just judge by these tears or some other such physical signs. It is Sri Ramakrishna could see it. I saw his chest turn crimson, his eyes became deep red, and tears trickled down his cheeks continually. He could neither talk nor stand. It was as if he had drunk 2 bottles of wine, and there was no sign that his ecstasy would come to an end. Frightened, I said to Mathur, "What have you done to him?" I said to Mother. I said to Mother, "What have you done to him, Mother? People will say that I have cast a spell on him. His parents are at home and he must return there now." I passed my hand over his chest and continued to pray to the Mother. After a while, he somehow calmed down and returned home. The Master told us that Mathur had similar spiritual experiences because he was in contact with his tangible spiritual life. These experiences increased Mathur's love and devotion 1,000-fold. Yeah, one experience is far more valuable than a truckload of reading books and understanding logically. One experience is enough to convince. And if that experience is not there, then all other things do not count much. These experiences increased Mathur's love and devotion 1,000-fold. One day, the Master was pacing back and forth on the northeastern veranda of his room, which extended east to west. He was in spiritual mood, completely oblivious of his surroundings. Mathur was then seated alone in a room in his bungalow, which was situated between the temple complex and the Panchavati. It was not far from Mathur's room to the veranda where the Master was pacing, so Mathur could see him through a window. Sometimes he thought of the Master as he watched him walking in what was obviously an indrawn mood, and again he thought about various worldly affairs and made plans for his own future. The Master was not at all aware that Mathur was watching him from time to time as he sat in his parlour. But what would it have mattered if he had been aware of it? The disparity between their social, domestic and other conditions was so great that there was no need for them to be concerned about one another. If the Master had not been preoccupied with and absorbed in a divine mood, it would have been reasonable for him to feel slightly discomfited and to move away from that place when he knew that Mathur could see him. Mathur was a wealthy, respected, learned, and intelligent aristocrat and could be regarded as the sole proprietor of the Kali temple and the Rani's estate. And it was because the Mathur had won the favor, and sorry, it is reverse. And it was because the master had won the favor of Mathur that he was not thrown out of the temple. Master was an ordinary, insignificant, poor Brahmin priest whom people considered to be stupid, mad, and unconventional. So, this is the difference between the two, the status, the worldly status of the two. And that is what affects the way we deal with people. Somebody we consider to be lunatic, we will deal with like that. Some an ordinary person, okay, and some a very wealthy and having lot of authority, a lot of social prestige, and so forth. That will change our attitude, our behavior to that person. It is, we say all are equal, but our behavior changes from person to person. It is, yes, so when there is the meeting with governor, for example, then the way people approach governor and speak to the governor is not the same as they approach some other person, because they are aware of the superior authority and status of the governor. So, exactly like that, it is the master and Mathur. Yeah, the Mathur was at a very high worldly point of view, much superior to master, an illiterate priest getting some a few rupees as his monthly this thing emolument, and working there. That's about it. So it is, and has, in addition to this, he has all this insanity about him. So his status wouldn't have been considered very high. But the condition was very different, and gradually, as the incident is being described, Mathur is watching Sri Ramakrishna from his room, and then Sri Ramakrishna, while walking, you can see those two buildings even now. Sri Ramakrishna is pacing in that veranda, going and coming. So, Mathur Babu suddenly, what happened? All of a sudden, Mathur hurriedly ran out of his bungalow, threw himself down at Master's feet, and began to cry profusely. So this is what happened. What a strange thing. That he was watching Sri Ramakrishna, and while watching, something transformed. His awareness changed to something else. This is not that Sri Ramakrishna was doing anything consciously. He was not even aware that Mathur is watching him. So Sri Ramakrishna did not do anything. This is to be remembered. Sri Ramakrishna did not do anything. And yet, what prompted Mathur to run from his room and then prostrate before Sri Ramakrishna? It is an interesting thing. Today's time is now over, So we shall have to wait till next Tuesday to discuss that. In between you can, this is a long next paragraph, so we shall take it up for discussion next Tuesday. We shall meditate on what we heard for 30 seconds, and then in case if you have any questions, please come up with that. Yes, please. Yes, Charlie.
You said that Sri Ramakrishna, everything he did was spontaneous. Did the Divine Mother plan everything for him, or is everything totally spontaneous?
Oh, well, both are same thing, Divine Mother planned something, so it was spontaneous, means Sri Ramakrishna as a particularized person didn't know anything about it. So it was just happening as per the plan of Divine Mother. There is, it's very difficult to understand how it was happening. Is there a mechanism that can be shown, that there is a circuit, Divine Mother, that was put inside Sri Ramakrishna and that was controlling, a chip planted in Sri Ramakrishna that had all this program, that Divine Mother will govern Sri Ramakrishna's actions. In robot, they do that, that they have a program and then according to that the robot will move. So, is it something like that? Maybe, I do not know that how everything was planned by Divine Mother. You can also say everything was spontaneous, because in the sense that there was no planning on part of Sri Ramakrishna. So, any other question? Huh? Okay, okay.
Why did Mathur Babu then made Thakur offer a flower and for bearing false witness later on he did that in a court case for money?
Well, I didn't get you, please.
He made Sri Ramakrishna offer a flower to the Divine Mother.
Huh?
He hoped that that would help him win a legal case, a lawsuit. Later on it is said Mathur Babu.
Well, might be. Mathur Babu was a worldly person. He was a devotee, but the devotees have classes, very few love God for the sake of God. Most of us love God to get something from God. So, if I offer a flower to God, then God should give me what I want. A kind of a bargain one enters into. Okay, I will give you a flower. And then you should make me win my lawsuit. It is. So, and if I offer flower, that will not have that much effect. If Sri Ramakrishna offered flower, it will have more effect. And so forth. That was his understanding. It is, let Sri Ramakrishna alone, people tell even me, please pray for this. I say, well, you can pray yourself. No, your prayer will have more effect. It is. So imagine, that about Sri Ramakrishna offering a flower will have more effect. Mathur Babu naturally thought like that. So that is why he told Sri Ramakrishna to offer flower. Sri Ramakrishna offered. Anything, any problem? Huh? So let us conclude with the closing prayers. Today is the last day of 2019. Obviously, we won't have any more classes during this year. So, but today, after the class, there will be a singing of Old Lang Syne and have fortune cookies. You all will open fortune cookies. Our Naomi has brought enough fortune cookies that if suppose Beth opens her fortune cookie and sees that this is not what she wanted, you have the choice of to break another fortune cookie as well. So she has brought enough. So, and then there will be some apple cider, and then we will, while sipping, we will all chant the Auld Lang Syne. That has been the tradition going on here for about last 18, 19 years. So, this will happen in the basement. So, please proceed to the basement. I will meet you there instead of meeting here. And all of you know tomorrow there is a big program of the Kalpataru Day, Wish Fulfilling Day, from 11 o'clock in the morning. It will begin, would go up to say max 2 o'clock. It will consist of worship, flower offerings, music, readings, some reflections, prasad, lunch of the holy offered food, and then there will be a short video about depicting all the important activities that happened in 2019. What was happening in the whole year here? Okay, you will get a quick presentation of that, so that you will know, yes, I was here, yes, at that time this happened, and so forth. So that will end tomorrow's this program. Happy New Year to you all. Oh, yes, I have to keep this book. It's to open it. Thank you, though. And then we have sent and given the New Year card, Christmas New Year card to devotees, but there is a possibility that some of you might not have received it. So you please collect it now from the office. Naomi? Oh, she has gone down. Okay. So those cards are here, so you can take a card for yourself. Yeah. May the Divine, who is Father in heaven of the Christians, Holy One of the Jewish faith, Allah of the Muslims, Buddha of the Buddhists, Tao of the Taoists, Great Spirit of the Native Americans, Ahur Mazda of the Zoroastrians, and Brahman of the Hindus, lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May the all-loving being manifest himself unto us and grant us abiding understanding and all-consuming divine love. Peace, peace, peace be unto all.